What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. And we have been running pure as a team. The best bets hit again yesterday. So thanks to Hoop there for giving us the winners. Today, I got the DFS experts. I got the king of the cash chart, Mangone, and I got the man who can cash with the Jared Allen snowflake, and that's JSU. Travis, how we doing today?
Good. Excited to be here. Cash chart's going well. Excited to be bringing people the winners. I had some people do well, and thank me for that. So happy to give the cash chart winners. But I don't want to bury the lead. We got the best tournament player in the world with us, right? Had a huge day, not only in the NBA streets, he did it in the MLB streets, right? While doing the final countdown show, having to deal with Big T for an hour, which come on, who wants to juggle him around for an hour? I'm sure he's all liquored up there. Dealing with him can be a disaster sometimes. I'm totally kidding. But JSU, how's it going there, man? You took all the money yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I took all the money yesterday. This is going to sound bad because I'm so grateful that I won a ton of money. But man, Tim Hardaway Jr. at the end of that game was a disaster. I thought I could do it in the NBA. So honestly, to tell people the truth, this is the God's honest truth. I didn't know where I was at all during the slates, like for MLB or NBA. I very rarely do I ever check where I am. Now, I know who I play because Mangone knows I play a very concentrated amount of players in my player pool. I don't play a ton of teams. I play at max like 4 teams. That's like the most I really ever play for most sports. And so I kind of know everyone I have. So I can kind of get an idea based on like who busts and, who I have. But because I had so many late guys, I knew in my head, like, okay, my early guys were fine. They weren't great, but they were fine. But I didn't know like where the lineup was because I assume it's way in back because I had so many late guys to go. And kind of that's what happened on both NBA and MLB. Apparently, my lineups just started to move way up the standings as the game went on later in the game. So it was literally like my teams came from behind at the very end and got there, and on both MLB and NBA. I literally had no idea I was sitting with that type of shot to win money when I was watching Tim Hardaway Jr. in the fourth quarter. And I didn't realize that was the differentiator between me and the guy in first.
Well, I don't know if that's better or worse that you didn't know. You might have been even more upset.
I think it was better. No, I think it was better. I'll tell you right now, it was definitely better.
It's probably better, JSU, because I always know whenever it's like a good sweat. So just to give you a fun breakdown, we had this sports betting championship. I was playing for a Q once, and I was in first for the Q, and I was sweating. The guy you don't like to sweat, Russell Westbrook. This was last year on the Rockets, so not the same, but I was sweating a fade on him. And I think it was I had to fade like maybe 24 fourth quarter points. And everyone else was like, oh, you got this. You're fine. Like, this is Russell Westbrook. You just never know. And he just kept going off. And at one point, and again, last year Westbrook, so it's a different kind of Westbrook. I had to sweat a Russell Westbrook 3-pointer. And I was ahead by 3.25. So if Russell makes the 3, I lose. And I was like, don't let this be the dagger. I mean, there was 10 seconds left, and he puts up the 3, and I was watching it because I knew if he misses it, I win. If not, I lose on a Russell Westbrook 20% or 18% 3-point shot, whatever he shot last year was horrific. So when you know the sweat, JSU, it's not as fun, but it is a good ride as well. It's tough to stomach either way.
Yeah. Even the chat's running pure, right? Yesterday, Hoop and I both loved the Timberwolves plus the points, right? And I felt like I gave a pretty good breakdown on why they were going to cover. My guy West Coast Gems in the chat going, just take the money line, right? And I don't know exactly what it was off the top of my head, but a plus 10's got to be at least plus 500, right? So he's in the chat today. Tell me you took the Timberwolves money line. The only sweat I had was on the workbench last night. So even the chat's running pure. So good mojo all around. And glad to have you guys here today. So let's jump in today and see if we can continue these winning ways. Oh, I pulled up baseball. Let me pull basketball back up. The first game we got is the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are 20-41. They're heading to Boston to take on the Celtics, who are 32-29. Timberwolves in full-on tank mode. SGA's probably out for the rest of the season. We got Title's twin, Poku, leading the way here. The Celtics are going to be missing, I think, Fournier. Is Fournier playing tonight? No, he is playing. So I'm missing Robert Williams, Jason Tatum, and Kemba.
He hasn't been good, though. Like, he's literally done nothing. So, I mean, he's been absolutely horrific. So, I don't know what his role is on this team. It's like a disaster.
Yeah. So anyways, they're laying an 11.5. And it's funny, Travis, I talked to you before we jumped on that I'm not betting overnights. This was the closest I've been in about 2 months to one to hit that overnight, because I thought there's no way that the Thunder take money here, right? And I almost think the Boston blows them out. I mean, their recent results have been absolutely terrible for the Thunder. What did they lose last night by, like 30 or something? I mean,
they're really bad. It's a real disaster, that team right now. The only reason I didn't hit any of it last night was I didn't know who was going to play and not going to play. Do we have updates on like Dort and all them? Maybe you said it just now and I missed it.
No, they're all questionable again. I mean, this injury is just like a minefield. Like, I was thinking this morning. I was thinking, you know how like I like old movies, right? So sometimes when I watch these old movies, you see the doctor smoking in the doctor's office, right? And you're like, I can't believe that, like, you go to the doctor and he's just sitting there like smoking a cigarette while he's like checking out your knee or whatever. I think in 40 years, when the NBA only plays 45 games and the ratings are as high as the NFL, we're going to look back and be like, I can't believe they played an 82-game schedule. But regardless, yeah, it's a minefield of an injury report. We'll start with you, though, Travis. How are you taking on your favorite team here? And are you with me that we just go ahead and lay it with the Celtics regardless?
Yeah, I mean, that would be my lean, would be to lay it with the Celtics. It's hard to bet on a team that seems like they're tanking, and it's like they just don't care. And they're also putting out some really bad basketball players, right? Like, I mean, some bad guys are taking the floor. They signed Charlie Brown, and Charlie Brown checked in for 10 minutes or 11 minutes yesterday. Right. So I lean Celtics. The only reason I am cautious to actually bet it is because I don't know, if they do actually run out Dort and all those guys, I do think they could be a little bit more competitive, because I do think the Celtics don't have a great team that they're bringing out there. It's just Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and that's it, right? I mean, Tristan Thompson will be on the floor, fine, but there's some bad basketball players that are going to be playing tomorrow, or today, on this Celtics team that I don't like. Some of these rotation players, they're going to mix and match throughout their lineups. I even joked with my buddy. I was like, is Jabari Parker going to get some serious burn today? Maybe. He
will.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it just wouldn't shock me. So I lean Celtics. I think in DFS side, Jaylen Brown, I think he's there's some guys that should come preloaded in your lineup sometimes. I think Jaylen Brown is a preloaded into your lineups kind of guy. I'm curious to hear what JSU says about it, because he's a tournament guy, and it is a tough price tag on Jaylen Brown too, right? 8,400 is a lot, but is it a lot for this situation? I don't think so. If you do think it blows out, though, maybe it's not because of Jaylen Brown, right? I mean, there are routes where he's going to be really high owned, and there are some small routes where he could bust, but I do think Jaylen Brown is a lock and load in your lineups, at least in your cash games, no doubt. And then Marcus Smart, I don't know how to stomach his price tag at the 6'6". I'm still going back and forth on, do I jam him in there or not? Because sometimes when you do put in a guy like a Marcus Smart at 6'6", it takes away the opportunity to get another stud. If you want, for instance, if I want to go Jaylen Brown, right? And then I want to go two more studs. Say I want to go a Steph Curry and I want to go a Luka, right? I don't think I want to go Luka as much, but let's say Giannis. I like Giannis more. So if I want to go Curry, Giannis, and Jaylen Brown and then punt with a lot of value, I can't really do that with Marcus Smart. He is going to restrict that build in a way. So I'm trying to think through what to do with him, because I do think that 6'6" price tag is decent. Now on FanDuel, he's a shooting guard player, and I think at shooting guard, he makes more sense as a plug-and-play kind of guy and to get more exposure over there. I want to get JSU's takes, though, on Jaylen Brown. Is he just a lock and load in all your lineups, even in tournaments? And the second question I have for him as a tournament guy is, Marcus Smart, do you want him in your lineups or do you not want him? Because that 6'6" price tag is an interesting one.
Yeah, so first, Marcus Smart, I would want him in my lineups if he's not going to be super popular. If he's going to be popular, though, then I don't know if I really want to take him as chalk, Marcus Smart. But again, if he's going to be lower owned, I have no problem taking a shot on him, especially if Lou Dort plays. I think that is a very key piece of news for two reasons. One, they obviously play a lot better when he's in the game. Two, I think that shows that if they're letting him play, they're going to at least run him out there for 30 minutes. Because in every game he's played, they've pushed him. He's been one of the few guys who's been getting solid run when he plays. So take for that what you will. And then you got a Boston team who literally, Jason Tatum, their best player, he's out. Kemba, one of their better offensive players, he's out. There is a very real possibility where the Celtics could struggle to score the basketball with those two guys out. Evan Fournier has looked awful. Marcus Smart is literally hit or miss when it comes to the offensive end. Like, if that three-point shot is going, the Celtics are really tough when Marcus Smart is hitting threes. But, God, he is so up and down when it comes to consistency with that three-point shot. If his three-point shot could ever become consistent, he would be such a threat during the game. Right now, he's a threat defensively because of how inconsistently his offensive game is. But if he ever could consistently knock down a three, God, he'd be so dangerous. Like that's the thing, because I love Marcus Smart, but it's tough to watch him on the offensive end, airmailing threes when he's off. Like, it's really tough to watch. Jaylen Brown, I think, again, you have to look at it in two ways. This game could, obviously, because the OKC doesn't want to win and they're kind of tanking, this game does have a shot to blow out. The spread's 11 right now. I mean, I could still see it blowing out. Even if it blew out, though, I think Jaylen Brown probably has a big I think he has a big game if it blows out, because I think they're going to need him to score regardless. Like, I feel like if they struggle, Jaylen Brown probably has a bad game. You could take this in two different ways, Travis. If this game stays close, maybe it's a real possibility that Jaylen Brown actually struggled on the offensive end with how badly OKC is looking to tank. So I don't know how you look at that. If Lou Dort plays and he gets to play defense on Jaylen Brown, maybe that's another thing you could throw out there. I kind of like Peyton Pritchard. I think he's the other guy who can score the basketball with no Kemba and Tatum. I don't know if they're going to start him. I think that's a key too. They've been starting Romeo Langford a little bit.
I don't think they start him, JSU. I think they keep him on that second unit and they start Marcus Smart out.
Well, that's the other reason though why I think he's interesting, is because he's going to get run with that second unit, which is really where I like him. I'd rather him not be on the floor with Brown as much. I'd rather him be on the floor without Brown and maybe even Smart and let him kind of run the second unit. Either way, though, I still think he could play. I still think he's someone who could get more minutes. Whereas, like, he got 16 minutes last game. I could easily see him getting 25 minutes here. Like, I think that's a real possibility in a minutes bump.
All right. Well, you said that you think that the Dort news, is some of the news that matters. I'll tell you what, to me, it's the only news that matters, right? So if we have no Lou Dort, I'm laying it. I don't care. Yeah. This team is absolutely terrible without him. He's the heart and soul of the team on both ends of the floor. And after watching him brick all those threes in the bubble, who would have thought you'd be saying that, right? But he's really coming to his own on the offensive end.
The question is, though, why would they play him here? They want to lose. They have a Celtics team that is literally missing two of their best players. Why are they going to play him here?
Let me check the standings real quick. And basically what I'm going to get for is that my argument is the bottom three have the same percentage anyways.
The team are doing a great job, by the way, Spread. I mean, they are winning games. They're doing a great job of ruining their chances. So it's helping OKC a little bit for sure.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you have a top three protected pick, you want to go on a winning streak to end the year, right? I mean, but no, and you got a good question. Why would he play? But I'm just telling you how I'm going to approach this game. If he's out, I'm going to lay it. If he's in, I'm going to take the under. So, I mean, that's just the way that I'm approaching this game. Did you guys have anything more on this game before we go to the next one? I actually really don't think it's that interesting.
I mean, I think I agree with you 100%. If he's out, I have no problem just laying it with the Celtics. If he's in, I'd be a little hesitant to do so, actually.
Yeah, same here. I really like he's been so good. He's really like one of my new favorite players. So it's too bad he's stuck there in Oklahoma City. But I have faith in Presti with all those draft picks. I think they might be able to turn this around quicker than some people give them credit for. But that'll be a conversation for the offseason. Let's move on to a game. This is kind of fun. I'm looking towards taking the points here. I want to get your opinion. The Milwaukee Bucks, 37-23, 26-33 against the spread, heading to Charlotte to take on the Hornets, who are catching 9 points at home. Now, remember, Charlotte's 2-0 against the Bucks so far this year, but unfortunately, the most recent game, nobody played at all. I remember that game. It was a Friday. AP and I liked the Bucks there. at -7.5 when we did the show. Then they sat everybody, and they closed as like a +1. So that was like a schedule beat, an injury beat for us. It's kind of a tough play, but we didn't beat ourselves up for it. But I like the way the Charlotte team is playing right now. I feel like they have nothing to lose. I love the addition of Bridges into the starting lineup. Rozier and Graham have been done fantastic. If you can just get passable minutes from PJ Washington, this isn't a bad team. I like them to keep it close against the Bucks. I see a lot of smart people though thinking the Bucks blow them out. Travis, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm curious because we saw Giannis's minutes the other day. Like, he was just playing the entire game in the fourth quarter. It was wild. And I'm trying to figure out how to decide what to do with Giannis and DFS because I like him in this spot. But from a betting perspective, I'm not really going to go to the dog here, right? I'm either going to bet on the Bucks or I'm just going to go on to another game. I'd say my lean is on the Bucks side. It's because like I said, we saw Giannis play a bunch before. He's the type of guy to kind of want to play right in these games, and he's been hurt, so maybe he wants to get himself back going and in form. I don't know. I'm trying to play some kind of narrative to think about it, but I don't love this game, right? I don't think I need to go and attack this one. If you were telling me which blowout do I want to attack, right, it's probably the Boston one. I would take that game over this one if I had to bet. I just can't see myself putting any money on these dogs here, so that's kind of my read on it. And in DFS, Charlotte, I'm not jumping to roster many of these guys today. Maybe JSU's still looking at Terry Rozier, who he likes to roster. I don't think it's the right slate for him or spot. I think Giannis is the only guy I'm really considering in this game. I don't need to go to Drew. Middleton sometimes makes sense on FanDuel because you have to play two small forwards, and you have the raw points to do that at times because you spend down at some spots because there's enormous value. So I think that FanDuel, maybe Middleton could be in play. I think even on FanDuel, when I was looking last night, it's just some quick building. I do think Giannis's raw points could matter because the power forward position is not always the best. And I lean that I think if I rank the stars on this slate, I lean Curry as my number one guy. Giannis is my number two, and then Luka as my number three. So that's kind of my DFS breakdown on it all and how I'm kind of approaching it today.
All right, JSU. I like the Hornets here. Mangone likes the Bucks. Break the tie. Who do you like?
All right. Well, first of all, looking at this Charlotte team, just quickly scanning through the numbers here, looking at these guys. PJ Washington, this is just recently, right? He had one bad game against Chicago, which is in the middle of this 5-game stretch. But look at what he's doing from three. 5 for 11, 6 for 10. He had an 0 for 1. That was against Chicago where he barely played. 5 for 9, 4 for 6. The dude is shooting over 50% from the field in this span from three. He wasn't doing that before, like the whole injury and everything like that. It's been insane. Miles Bridges, here's another guy. He gets implemented into the starting lineup. Look at his past few games. 3 for 7, 3 for 9, 3 for 6, 4 for 6, 4 for 8. Look at how consistent he is from the three. And he's shooting a ton of shots. He's playing a ton of minutes. Then you got Terry Rozier, who we all know is a super streaky scorer, can score, 25, 30 points at any time he wants. He gets on hot streaks, right, from the field, especially from three. So he's a guy who can knock down threes. I love backing teams against the Bucks that are shooting really well, specifically from the three-point line all around too. It's not just like one guy. It's not just like a sharpshooter. It's the entire team. And I know they're missing guys. I have another take too, Travis. I just pulled this slate up like literally before we jumped on to look at the DFS prices. Giannis seems like a complete lock. I don't know how he's not the number one stud on this slate. They were playing him the entire fourth quarter. He's under 11K. This is a prime spot for him against Charlotte. I think Giannis smashes. That's just my take now. Could change.
No, it's a great point you're mentioning, JSU. And so I talked about Curry versus Giannis last night, and I think positions are going to matter, but I'm going to try and jam both in. I think the problem is if I jam both in then with Jaylen Brown, it's going to get dicey, and it's going to really depend on what value we get throughout the day to drive me to which player, right? I think that's how it's going to break down.
The question with all these studs is, do we get enough value to be able to play one or two of them? Probably, right? We probably will. At least one anyways. But there are a lot of good plays. You mentioned Jaylen Brown. We're going to get into another team in Indiana who's got a bunch of guys in the 8K range that are a very good place too. Mm-hmm. So it could lead you to a different roster construction where you're not even with value, you may not even be playing a guy at the top. So we could get into that too from DFS side. But from a betting side, I think Charlotte is a very good bet. And it's one of the reasons why I'm more confident actually in Giannis from a DFS side, because if I like Charlotte to hang in this game and keep it somewhat relatively close enough, then I think I got to love the star in a really good matchup on the slate. So I like Giannis. I like Charlotte though to cover. So give me Charlotte. What are they? +9 right now?
+9.
Yeah.
Maybe you can hold off. Maybe they'll take a little money. But This number seems pretty steady. This is where it was last night. When I see it last night and then I wake up today and it's the same number, I'm assuming it's like equal money overnight. I respect the overnight money, even though I'm no longer part of that, because I told Travis I'm not willing to play the roulette on these injuries. But I do have respect for the overnight money when it comes in even. I think that there's something to note, so that means you can make good arguments on both sides, and obviously big money groups have done that. But I like Charlotte here to keep it close, and just from the DFS angle, if you do like it close, I think that makes Giannis such a more attractive spend-up auction. Where if you think that they blow out, right, you could be a little more hesitant.
Yeah, spread. What do you have on PJ Washington's threes? I think that's a bet that would entice JSU, and it is a good matchup. The 3-pointers are something that the Bucks give up, right? Like that is something to key in on. And I'm just thinking through JSU's handicap on it. I want to hear what he says on PJ Washington's 3-pointers if we have a prop for that yet. I can look on one of my books maybe too to see if it's
I'll look on BetOnline right now. Usually I use Bookmaker because it has like the most neutral lines. Like they're not ridiculously juiced one way or the other. Let me check BetOnline real quick.
So I'm not seeing on DK PJ Washington. I see Miles Bridges 2.5 is the over, 2.5 +105. Terry Rozier over 3.5 +115. I don't see PJ. If you guys can find PJ,
I have nothing
lower.
I have nothing on PJ on FanDuel. The one site, Bet365, typically will have these. So I'm pulling it up now because they have some, like, you can get like Trevor Ariza overs, like at times, which are just like weird bets to be able to get. So they might have this. Let me pull it up now.
On BetOnline, over 3 is +120.
Over 3?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's 3, not 3.5?
Yeah, they do it weird that way. They do it on the individual numbers. They don't do the halves. So like 2+ is -185, 3+ is +120, 4+ is +215, 5.
I got 2.5 at +100 on PJ Washington on Bet365.
There you go. He's done that. He's done that literally in 4 of his last 5 games.
And what happened in that Chicago game? You brought that up, and I didn't watch that one. Was there something specific that caused him to get run off the floor? Because isn't that kind of weird?
And the game was just kind of out of hand too. I'm pretty sure.
Was that it? Okay, yeah, I don't remember that one. Obviously, we don't have a chance to watch every game ourselves, which is why.
We just got big news. Lou Dort is not on the injury report.
Looks like I'm looking.
Tony Bradley questionable. I mean, that's you want to bet the under then right now, right? Is that what you're thinking?
Under. Yeah. Fortunately, I don't think that'll move too much. I don't think that's like something that'll.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I'm gonna bet this PJ Washington one for you, JSU. We're gonna ride the JSU hot streak out here and put a little.
Yeah, I love
PJ.
that play. I think that's fantastic. Let's see if we can find another great one. This is a pretty exciting game here. Oh wait, let's go to this one first. Let's go to Portland Trailblazers. Who are laying 5 in Indiana. This number seems wrong to me. Indiana's won 3 of 5. I know Sabonis and Turner out, but the other guys have been picking it up here. I like the Pacers plus the points at home. Travis, what do you think about this game? Am I completely missing something on this?
No. Sorry, we just got the news flying in, so I'm a little distracted.
If you want to.
Nothing huge. Just like Kuruk's available, Tucker. I see the notifications, right? So I get excited. There's something to bet, but there's nothing yet. Pacers side. So I'm with you. I would rather be on the Pacers. I'm someone that thinks that this Pacers team is not that bad right now with the guys that they have with Brogdon and Caris LeVert. Following usage of them is not a bad thing at all. So I like what they're kind of doing here. I like some of these younger guys. They're playing good basketball too. Some of these young guys in the front court. So I'm down to go on that, right? I think Goga might play in this game. There's a chance he doesn't, right? But I do think there's a chance he comes back. I think that would help them in reality. So I do think I'm on the Pacer side with you, spread. I like the +4. I wouldn't even mind sprinkling the money on it if you like. Again, I like to bet against Portland a lot. I don't think they're that great of a team. And Damian Lillard's playing hurt. It seems like, Stotts has talked about it. Like you and I were talking before the show, and you've heard it, I've heard it. I'm sure JSU has heard it. And I'm just not a big believer in this Blazers team right now. So I'm definitely down with the Pacers bet at them at +4.
Yeah, you previewed the next point I want to play. Lillard's only 34.7% from the field and 29% from three over the last 3 games. For the whole season, he's been 43 and 37, right? Then you take the quote from Stotts. He's missing some shots that he normally makes, but I think that he's competing. His ankle is a little bit sore today from the last game, but that's what I see. I mean, I think this guy is dragging himself out there. I don't think he's 100%. I think he's the heart and soul of this team. Let's take advantage of it. Most of these guys, I'll bet you would rest here. I bet you both NBA players, if they're dealing with what Damian Lillard was right now, they wouldn't put up the 29% shooting. They would just rest. They would protect their averages, protect the stats. Lillard doesn't do that, but we're going to go ahead and take advantage of that by jumping on the Pacers. What do you think, JSU? Is this the way that you're reading this too, or do you have the opposite idea?
Yeah, I mean, +5 on a team that against a team that I really don't respect, especially defensively. I'm fine with it. The Pacers have been playing solid basketball. The one thing I will say, huge mismatch down low for both these centers. Mm-hmm. Even if Goga plays, they're going to have a really tough time to stop Nurkic on the offensive boards and his Canner when he comes in on the offensive boards. That is going to be where this game, I think, is going to go. I think that if Dame Lillard is really hurt, which obviously they know, right? And Dame knows if he's struggling or whatever. We've seen it even the last 2 games. Look at the production Nurk has done. You're going to say, oh, well, the last 3 games, his minutes have went up. Well, yeah, he's played 5 extra minutes. He's gotten 29 minutes instead of 23 or 24. That's fine. That's a nice minutes bump. But look at the production. I think they need this out of him. I think this is one area where they know going into this game they could be really effective is down low, getting the ball to Nurk. I think he's a really good DFS play. Even with his price going up, I'm still okay with it. And I think that's the one spot they can do damage. But I do also think Indiana can hang and score against this Portland defense. So I'm with it with the +5. I'm seeing +5 on DK. I'll take the +5.
Yeah, I mean, just as bad as that mismatch is, though, for the Pacers inside, I think the Pacers are going to cause a lot of problems for this Portland team on the perimeter, right? Damian Lillard, if he's already slow, wasn't the best defender to begin with, right? I get to attack Powell and McCollum. I mean, Anthony Simons. I mean, it's just I think that Brogdon and LeVert have huge games here. Edwin Sumner is a guy that's been coming along too. Wouldn't be surprised if he had a sneaky big game here as well. So I'm Team Indiana here, and I've been overrating the Pacers. Maybe I'll end up regretting it, but I'm on the Pacers as well. Travis, did you have anything more on this game before we go to the next one?
Yeah, I mean, I like the LeVert and Brogdon calls. You can make cases of playing one or two of those guys over a Curry, right, at the guard spot. I think that can make sense there. JSU, so I'm trying to think through the Pacers. So we get on these spots where I want to ride guys out, right? This is the time of year where we have guys that come into the lineup like a Brissett, right? And we just want to ride him until a certain price tag, it seems. Are there any guys is Sumner that guy now? Because he's looked a lot better, or is he just getting lucky? Because that's something I've been trying to figure out with Sumner. Could you take a shot on him? And then Jakar Sampson, he's a guy that was supposed to be in that role that Brissett's in, and then he's played great. That suspension basically lost him that role because he was supposed to play 40 minutes. And then he slid in that role, played really well. And Sampson keeps getting in foul trouble. And it feels like Sampson is going to get a really big leash here at some point and is too cheap for what they want him to be. But he keeps getting in foul trouble. And Nurkic is the spot where he'll probably get in foul trouble again. So I don't know what to do with Sampson. That's Sampson and Sumner are the two guys I'm trying to debate between right now of how to handle that.
Well, I mean, yeah, this is a terrible matchup for Jakar Sampson. Problem is he's not a 5.
Yeah.
He's not. Right?
He's not big enough. Yeah, he's not big enough. The problem is, though, he's not really the way he plays. It's he plays with heart and hustle, and he's not really good at one thing, right? He plays really hard. He can't shoot really well from the outside, in my opinion. He's not a great, like, in the paint scorer. He really gets it done with, like, rebounding and running the floor and getting transition. But that's where he needs to excel for fantasy scoring, in my opinion, is rebounding, hustle, running the floor, getting easy buckets that way. It's going to be really tough if he's got to guard Nurkic on the other end. That's why I think Goga is big news, because, like, if he's out, then Jakar's going to have to guard him to start. And I could just see another situation where picks up 2 quick fouls from Nurkic and he's on the bench again, but he's 3.2K. So if you need the value, and then Sumner, I mean, maybe you could say, okay, he's had 2 really good shooting spots from the field, 9 for 15, 7 and 13. If the dude's going to consistently take double-digit shots at 4K, I'm okay with taking a shot on him. But if you look at his numbers, he is extremely scoring dependent. So that does worry me a little bit. But at the same time, he's also cheap. So you could look at it in both directions. He is someone, though, that normally I would say I like to wait and see if he can do this for a little more than 2 games. That's how I approach guys like this. But again, if I land at 4K for, like, my last spot and he's the last person there and there's no one else, I don't mind plugging him in if he's a last piece guy. But he's not someone I'm looking to be like, oh, I need Edmund Sumner in my lineup. But it is a good spot for him, though, right? He's playing big minutes. Portland is a terrible defense. So you could take that in all different places. I'm just saying for fantasy.
Luka's questionable. So if you want to jump on the Warriors now, like, just if you think he's going to sit, like, it's a good time to. Sorry.
I think the Warriors are still the bet either way. Luka's looked awful, man. Oh.
Yeah, you got Kleber questionable, Finney-Smith questionable. So, I mean, just hit it now before it goes away if you want it. So.
All right. Well, it's still at 5 on my board. I think they already baked that in when I woke up because I went to bed and it was like -1. And that it doesn't move 4 points off money. I think that they expected him to sit. He has hurt an elbow. He's only been shooting 30% from 3. Almost the same thing with Lillard. I think he's carrying himself out there, not 100%. Could be an issue. But we'll just wrap up on the Pacers game. I think that we found a nice side. But can I get your guys' thoughts on this total? 242? That's high.
Yeah, I mean, it's because the both teams don't play defense, right? Like, this game's going to be good for DFS. Like, I mean, the more we talked about it, like, I think JSU brought up good points and, like, makes me want Jakar to be next to Goga, right? I think that could help him a lot more. Because, again, I'm worried about that foul trouble. But, like, when there's a 242 total, like, I want to get exposure to it. And I talked about it. Like, if I want Curry and I want Giannis and then Jalen, it's like, well, like, now I'm running out of money to get exposure to this game. So it could be a mistake to do that, right? Like, these Pacers are going to be a spot I want to target. Like, this game is going to be good. I don't know where to really target on the Blazers side. Like, if I want to do a run back, I feel like it's better just to stay away for the most part, or maybe go like a Nurkic, who we talked about, but he is priced up. He was like 5'2" the other day. Now he's like 6'4". But I think ultimately Pacers side is a great side. You can still get some exposure.
I wish some of these
so high on 242.
Not really. These teams play no defense, like, especially with some of the guys out. Yeah. And the Pacers, you got to remember, like, Turner being out, no rim protection. They don't have a real center. Like, there's no rim protection. I wish that Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, I wish they were more aggressive going towards the basket and trying to get foul calls and finishing. They're not those type of play. They do a lot of their work on the perimeter. Scoring and shooting, whereas I wish one of them, like, really attacked consistently and tried to draw fouls. We see at times Dame will do that, but that's not really his style, right? His style is on the perimeter. He wants to create, go one-on-one on someone, get a pick and roll, and come off that pick and roll ready to pop one. Like, that's his style. Because against this Pacers team, I would love a guard who, like Jimmy Butler, like, dude wants to attack. Like, give me that type of guy against this team. I would play him all day. They don't have that guy. Like, I honestly think Dame would be really interesting, even the way he's been playing terrible, if he played that way. He just doesn't.
Yeah, that's the issue. Our guy TRR in the chat wants the Pacers to give Roy Hibbert a 10-day contract. Give him a little bit of protection. So I had to give a little credit to that. Was a good comment here. All right, I think that was a pretty good breakdown of that game. I think we got all bases covered there with the total, the side, and some great DFS plays. Never a bad idea to target a 242. I've liked the dogs last couple games we've talked about. It's time for me to get square. I'm talking about the Brooklyn Nets, 41-20, 31-30 against the spread, heading to Tampa to take on the Toronto Raptors, 26-35, 27-33 against the spread. Brooklyn's laying 6.5 here. I haven't bet it yet. I love Brooklyn here, but they keep doing this to me on Toronto. I mean, they just put all their best players. Like, they just put the whole starting lineup at questionable every day. Anunoby's questionable, Lowry's questionable, Van Fleet's questionable, Siakam's questionable. I mean, I guess if all of them play, this becomes a stay away, but I still like Brooklyn here. KD is so good. He's so I don't know if he's necessarily underrated, but I don't know if the bookmakers are putting the same value on it, and that was something that Travis had talked to me about before we started. So why don't you jump in and let him know what you're thinking about KD maybe being undervalued to the lines makers?
Yeah, I mean, I think KD is undervalued because of just how good he's been, right? I mean, he's absolutely been amazing within this offense. The plus minus numbers are through the roof for him. I also think that there's value on the Raptors sitting their guys out of nowhere, right? There's definitely a chance that it happens. So I jumped on the Nets, minus 6.5. Again, it's one of those things where, hey, those guys could play, but I still feel live, right? Or it could be kind of like the Warriors yesterday. I liked the Warriors yesterday. I thought they were a decent bet. And then I was like, okay, these guys could then sit, and then it could get even better, right? And we're seeing that now. And the same thing could happen to the Nets. You could see this being from 6.5, move all the way to 10.5. It would not shock me at all. So I'm on the Nets side. I lean them in this spot. It is unfortunate Bruce Brown's not playing, right? Because he's been really good for that team.
Yeah.
But I think overall, KD, Kyrie, it's just going to be too much for them to handle. And I'm going to be on the 6.5 with the Nets here.
Yeah, JSU, I was listening to a podcast and they were joking around. They were saying Toronto's the most likely team to just sit everyone out if they made the play-in game. Just, no, we're going for the lottery. We don't care. The tank seems to be on. I guess I would be still a little worried here, but I like Brooklyn. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys here. I think Brooklyn's the play. I mean, yeah, they don't have Bruce Brown, but they'll take having KD and Kyrie, right, Mangone? It's okay. We'll take no Bruce Brown, but we'll take KD and Kyrie playing solid minutes today. Give me those.
By the way, can we talk about how this Nets team has not had Harden, KD, and Kyrie healthy all year? They're basically the 1 seed in the East with the fighting Landry Shamet, Bruce Brown, and just all Jeff Green. How are they a 1 seed? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, they're basically there. They're at the top. They should be at the 5 or 6 spot with the situation they've been in all year.
But Mangone, it's the regular season. You know this. It's the NBA. Teams don't really lock in, especially defensively. Yeah. The playoffs, everything changes, right? Everything gets a little tougher in the playoffs. Defense, the people start to focus. The teams, especially players individually, will start to focus more on defense in the NBA, and you see it in these playoff games. And the pressure is a little bit more. It's a little more on in the playoffs. You'll see it for some of these guys. But it is interesting that the Nets are still a 1 seed even with all the injuries. But they have 3 of the best players in the league. 3 of the best players, and at least one of them is playing pretty much every game. So I don't know.
While on the topic of the Nets, I'll ask you guys a question. I was talking to someone about it. I said Nets minus 110 to win the East, right? Not to win the whole thing. Is it free money? I mean, obviously, if Harden's healthy, it is. But I don't know.
But you can't trust his health right now. You can't trust his health.
Yes, that's the one problem. That's the only out I worry about, which I still think I might jump on it because of that.
I think it's legit. I mean, the guy never misses games. I mean, we say what we want about his preparation, strip clubs, parties. The guy loves playing basketball. I've seen many a fight with him yelling at D'Antoni when D'Antoni's pulling him out when they're up by 18 with 4 to go. Some was the individual, right? Maybe he wanted to get to 40 that night, or he was 1 assist away from a triple-double. The guy loves basketball. I think this injury could be serious, and that's the only reason I wouldn't take advantage of that. I think you're right. A full-strength Nets team is there, but I think that's why the East is wide open, not because of the players, but because of the injury aspect, right? Philly's another team like that too. I think they got a great shot, but they have to be 100% healthy.
The funny part about Harden, KD, those two guys probably love basketball more than anyone in the league. They'll play, like literally, they'll play all off season. Like they love basketball. Like KD loves playing. Like KD wants to play all the time. They've always talked about this, how like they just can't get him to stop playing. Like he just always wants to play, even in the offseason. He always wanted to play. Harden's like, I feel like Harden's the same way, especially in NBA games. You saw it with D'Antoni, like you said, he would like fight with him about putting him back in up 25, like in the fourth quarter. It's like, dude, I want my final 5 minutes of run. Give it to me. Yeah. And he's like, we're up 25. Like, why are you going back in there? But he would get his way a lot of the time. But I think those two guys are the key. KD is definitely the one guy, though. If I had to pick one of those three that I needed for sure, it was KD. The other two could be whoever, but KD is the one guy I think you cannot lose if you want to win a championship. The other thing too, you guys, no respect for Miami. I can't wait. Miami, they've been locking in defensively.
I can't wait to fade Miami. I'm gonna
spread. Last season, you put no respect on Miami too. I came on one of your shows. We were talking, and I remember saying I like Miami to come out of the East, and you like the Raptors. Come on, buddy. I'm coming back for you again. This is going to be Miami. They're beating Philadelphia, by the way, spread. Miami.
Oh, wow. I cannot wait. I'm on the exact opposite. I think they're overvalued from that bubble run.
Many things went right. You can have Ben Simmons at the end of the game. I'll take Jimmy Big Shot buckets. Give me Jimmy Big Shot buckets.
Yeah.
To be fair, let's spread pick Embiid instead of Simmons. You can't pick Simmons for him, okay? He's gonna take Embiid with the final shot because Ben Simmons, we know it's not going in.
JSU, I think you missed it with title on the other day, right? So I had faded the Heat. You're gonna love this one. I knew you weren't watching because I know I would have got a message from you when I said it. So I had faded the Heat, and I'm watching down the stretch, and they're giving Butler wide open threes, right? And he's clanking them. And betting against them, I'm feeling like it's a win every time he gets a wide open three. And I'm thinking, is Jimmy Butler just Giannis with attitude, right? I mean, just a guy that gets to the rim, plays great defense, but can't make an open shot. Let's hear it, JSU. That's put that on the team for you.
No, that's hurtful, spread. That's borderline egregious. I mean, Jimmy Butler. They don't call him Jimmy Buckets for nothing. Wait until, I'm telling you right now, when the playoffs start and these games start to really mean something, that's when that dude's going to come out. You'll see it. You'll see it. You saw it in the bubble. Yeah. You saw it in the bubble. That dude does not care about anyone but his teammate. He will fight anyone. I love those type of players like Russ. The players that play angry all the time are the players I want on my team. That's what you're getting from Jimmy. Every game, he doesn't care who he's playing. Exactly. He thinks he's the best player on the floor, and you need that. Not many players have that mindset where they just don't give a shit. Kobe was the same way. Kobe literally wanted to bite. He didn't care if it was Michael Jordan, the guy he looked up to, was playing across from him. He did not care. He wanted to dunk on everyone. He wanted to bite their heads off. He wanted to go right at any person. Didn't matter who they were on offense. He did not care. Or defense. Like, that's how he was. Those are the best players in the world. Those type of players, the players that just don't give a crap and play their hearts out and play angry. I love those guys.
And obviously, that little Giannis crack is just a little troll job, to get people.
Oh, yeah, no, you got to get under my skin. I just came at you. I came at you for the Toronto call last year, so you got to get under my skin a little bit.
But here we go. Here's another reason why I'll go against Miami, right? The loss of Jay Crowder, right? He was fantastic in the bubble. He's a versatile defender. They're missing that size, right? He can go 2 through 5 pretty easily. Maybe not 2, but 3 through 5 impeccably. Goran Dragic is aged 5 years in the past season, right? He's not the same player.
Well, time out spread. To defend Goran Dragic, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what Goran Dragic is until the playoffs because he's always in bubble wrap. They don't really run him out there. And what happens is every single time we get to the postseason, right before this time of year spread, we go, Goran Dragic is dust. And then he shows up in the postseason and he plays 30 minutes a night and he's 4.5K in fantasy. And by the end of the postseason, he's going to be like 7-3. It happens every year. So I don't want to say that Goran Dragic is dust until I see him be dust in the postseason.
This is a good point, though. They don't push Goran in the regular season. They never do. Like that is a good point to make. We don't really know what we're getting from him until the postseason when they start bringing Nunn's minutes down and they start giving Goran. I think the other key thing with this team that you're missing, too, the impact that Tyler Hero had in the bubble last year.
He was the next one I was going to run down.
As opposed to this year, the way he's looked, which is lost.
Terrible.
Terrible. So I think he's honestly one of the keys. Him and Dragic, those two guys need to play a lot better in the playoffs for them to do it. Because I'm not worried about Jimmy. I'm not worried about him.
I agree with you, too. I think Jimmy and Bam are there. I'm worried about the supporting cast. And the last one that I'd run down for you is Duncan Robinson. Just basically what he was doing last year is borderline unsustainable. He's hitting 44% from three, right? He's only 39% this year, which is fantastic, right? I mean, 39% will get you 10 years.
I will die on this ledge of, I said it before the bubble started. The bubble, if you were a shooter, the bubble, I think, was the best thing for you. Because a lot easier, every surrounding, it's the same every time. There's no one in the crowd. You are just focusing on the rim. There's no distractions with crowd. The bubble was the best thing for shooters. Devin Booker was insane in the bubble. All these shooter type players, look at what Dame did. I mean, Dame was insane. Yeah. All these shooter type players had insane bubbles. And I think that was key. Yeah, you're right. That's not sustainable. I also agree, though, in the chat, what's his name? TRR. He says Trevor Ariza was a good addition. I think come playoff time, I agree with him. Trevor Ariza is going to be a solid addition. Because they need him to fill that Crowder role. He needs to fill that Crowder role. He needs to be a versatile defender and hit the wide open threes. And that's not that crazy for Ariza to do it. He's done it in the playoffs. And I had the game on last night, and I thought he looked pretty good out there. So this will be a fun one for us to revisit, and I think this will be good. I love how we got on a 10-minute Miami Heat tangent, and they're not even on the slate.
Well, that's why I put you and Travis on the Tuesday, because we have a shorter slate. We can,
midnight three. When Spread was talking about Jay Crowder, I was like, are they on this slate? I know Jay Crowder's his son, but why are we still talking about Miami? I was trying to figure it out for a second.
Mangone's confused. He's like, are we talking about Miami? Jay Crowder's on Phoenix now, or is Phoenix on the slate? What are we doing?
And that's why I love having you two guys on the show. This show, we always end up having the most basketball conversation, just random stuff that I obviously in my prep, I didn't put the Miami Heat's finals chances in there today. So a lot of fun.
We can get on a pod anytime you want and talk about it.
I'm going to bring you. I'll bring you on my. I'm going to bring you on my my net worth pod when we do that. This is general basketball discussion where we don't run down the card. But I know the people are here for the pick, so let's get back to it. We only got 2 games left, though, fortunately. And this next one is so hard for me not to pull the trigger. Definitely wanted to talk to you guys beforehand. Seems a little bit too easy. The Minnesota Timberwolves coming off 2 wins over the Utah Jazz, 18-44, 28-33 against the spread. Head to Houston to take on the Rockets, who are 15-46, 21-40 against the spread. The Rockets just shut down John Wall for the year. His numbers really weren't that bad. I think he averaged 20 and 6 in the games that he played. He only played 40 games. So I don't really know what to make of the John Wall loss. I wasn't really putting him as a net positive, but I guess that you probably should. The other thing that's keeping me away from this game is the Rockets are another team that love to do the whole full hockey line cycles with their in and out of the game. So tonight, House comes back, Kevin Porter comes back, Wood comes back, Jashawn Tate comes back, and Avery Bradley comes back. I don't think any of those guys played in their last game. Minnesota's -1.5.
I think Tate played in that game, right? He was the point guard, but that's it.
Did he? Yeah, I was trying to look. It seemed like they only ran 7 guys in that last
game.
They
did. So House was a man, I'm still annoyed about that slate because I knew House was not going to play. It was the dream spot just to load up because there's 7 basketball players playing, and the stupid Rockets still could not get the job done, even with playing 7 basketball players, which was shocking. But House was I'm wearing the jersey, but I'm not playing guy. So
yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen again. I think it was mainly because, hey, this guy's been injured all year, and he's not that he's a key piece, but he's one of the key pieces of this terrible team. So why are we running him out there for this game? Let's give him let's have the active jersey on him. And then I'm assuming he's going to be back when Christian Wood is back and all those other guys. So I'm assuming House is back in lineup tonight, but there is a chance that House is still kind of limited minutes-wise. So that is probably something to look and watch for.
Are you talking about the game against Denver where he didn't play?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was against Denver.
Yeah, that was off of a back-to-back too. So
yeah, that's
he did
true.
play the night before, and it was the first game coming back from the injury. So that might have had something to do with it too. They probably didn't want to run him out there too much. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they only give him 23 minutes again.
But what do you think, though, Travis, with all these guys back in? Are you off Minnesota? Do you think this is a huge letdown spot? I mean, it is a consideration.
It's hard for me to back the Rockets. I'll say that. It's hard for me to really just imagine yourself walking up to the window spread, instead of just sitting on the computer and typing it in quick, walking up to the window with a couple $100 bills and actually putting it on the Rockets.
I feel like Randy Marsh with the wheelbarrow, right? With the big nuts in it.
I just can't, man. Oh, I can't. So it's exactly that. So it's rough. I don't know if I can actually pull the trigger on the Rockets. I would lean the Timberwolves, and the reason why is the Timberwolves are playing good basketball right now, right? And regardless of what we think they should do, should they be trying, should they not? They clearly are trying. D'Angelo Russell played 31 minutes, and one of my buddies is a big Timberwolves fan. He was telling me that D'Angelo Russell hated the coach before, and he hated they didn't run any plays. And this is the better coach, right? Saunders was terrible. Finch has been being really smart, and he's calculated with what he's doing, right? He's using Cat as decoys at times. Then there's certain matchups he's using Cat and having him be the ball dominant guy and get the job done. At the end of the day, whatever you think, they should be trying to win games. They shouldn't be. These guys are trying to win games, right? And I'm going to be out here playing the Timberwolves. They've shown us that they are out here trying to win. I'm going to back them at the -2. I'm sure it's still at that spot, and I just can't put money on the Rockets right now. It's really tough to do. Them and the Thunder are just hard teams to put your money on right now.
All right, guys, and a quick reminder, please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more actionable gambling info. JSU, what do you think? Is this just too easy? Timberwolves here?
So when I saw the number, I was confused.
Yeah.
So Minnesota, I don't know how I don't bet Minnesota tonight. 1.5. So I need them to pretty much win this game. Which how can you back Houston? I don't know how you can back Houston right now. Minnesota's going to be able to get whatever they want. Look at what D-Russ has been doing. He's been on fire. They're not going to be able to stop Houston's not going to be able to stop him. Cat, what are they going to do with Cat? I don't know. I guess it's just maybe it's too easy. I guess though, when games are too easy spread, that's what worries me. When I look,
no, it does.
I'm
we know we've done this for a long time. It's never this easy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm really confused. I'm baffled when I saw the number. I was legit baffled. But I'm still gonna take the Timberwolves side, whatever that means to you. But it does worry me that it just looks that easy to me. But I can't bet Houston. I can't bet them.
I did the same thing with the Suns yesterday. Not because the Knicks were a bad team or anything like that, but I was the Suns are getting disrespected at the 1.5 I saw against the Knicks. You know what I mean? I'm with you. Sometimes you just see a number and you just like it a lot, and it's just it's confusing. And I think it's also some people not understanding that the Timberwolves are this better team, and maybe we ride them out right now. So I'm with you. I definitely think leaning the Timberwolves is the move here. It's really just hard to back the Rockets, and McDaniels is going to probably be on Porter, right? And that's going to cause some problems for them. And that's just going to make it where Kelly Olynyk and Christian Wood are the guys that are going to have to get the job done. And I just don't know how that's going to work out for them. I think the Rockets offense is going to be a little bit of a disaster today.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. It's maybe, yeah, the Timberwolves aren't the greatest team. It's we're betting on it. Both teams aren't very good, but the Timberwolves are just better than Houston overall. And I just don't think Houston is just that bad, in my opinion, where I can't take them here.
My only concern would be, is D-Russ somehow sitting on a back-to-back?
Is that even a concern?
Back out of nowhere, right? He's played 31 minutes a game. That's my only concern. What?
Honestly, if Cat's in, I'm still not like that worried.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
If I can get Cat and Anthony Edwards in this game, I'm not worried. But I don't know. Is he even questionable? I don't see him.
That's why I was wondering. I was just curious.
No, I don't see. This is actually a clean injury report for Minnesota. I don't see one name on the Minnesota team.
Yeah. I think he's a great player in DFS too.
Yeah. All right. Well, seems like we all agree. Let's see if it ends up being too easy later tonight. I'll be sending you a message if Houston's up by 20 and we're like, what are we doing here? How did this happen? But glad that we all agree on that one. Let's move to the last game of the night. Once again, shrouded in uncertainty. The Dallas Mavericks +5 heading to Golden State. This was -1 last night. The line indicates to me that they do not expect Luka Doncic to play. That isn't necessarily, to me, the best idea. His elbow's obviously hurting him. The three-point shooting declined. Again, he's down to 30% again from behind the arc. To me, I mean, I guess they can struggle for it, but right now they seem kind of destined for a playing spot. I'd want to be 100% healthy going into that game and then looking for that. So I would not be surprised if Luka doesn't play. This 5 seems about right, I guess. If he doesn't play, probably still lean the Warriors, but I don't like laying big spreads with this Golden State team. I really don't know what to make of this game. Travis, why don't we start with you? Am I missing some value here, or if I just say, hey, completely stay away from this game, just have it on as a nightcap while I'm enjoying counting my money from those Timberwolves winnings earlier? Would that be a good way to approach it as well? What do you think?
No, I'm with you. I mean, listen, I wanted to be, man, I wish I would have jumped on the Warriors last night when I saw the money line. Some of our subscribers got it because I believe HTP put that on the sheet.
He gave it out. He did.
I almost bet it, but, I ended up betting it later on today. Didn't expect all that news to fly in as quick as it did. But, hey, Warriors, I still think are in a good spot. I would lean on them. I think that's the side I want to be on at the 4.5. So I like the Warriors there. But I have a prop I really like in this game. I'm getting a little worried about the blowout. So, and when the blowout could happen, I get worried about some of these guys' minutes, right? I get worried about Curry's minutes. I get worried about Draymond. But, if you are worried about the blowout, right, you just bet the Warriors, right? But I do think this game could get a little ugly if Luka does sit and some of these other guys. But it is the Warriors, and they're awful defensively, so maybe I should not worry about it as much. But I like Draymond Green's assists. I really think that's a good bet. Last night it was at 9.5, and I felt a little more uncomfortable, and it was -140. So I was like, I'm just going to wait and see what happens. And then this morning woke up and it was 8.5, and it was -130. So I hit that. I put that on the sheet as well. Reason why I really like Draymond's assists here, if you look the last couple of matchups for Draymond playing against Dallas, he had 15 assists in both those games. And part of it could be a scheming reason against Dallas of why. He's had some pretty high assist game against them. I looked even further back and he's had some pretty high assist games. So it could be a Rick Carlisle thing. Also, Draymond has been really, really good in a nice groove. This entire Warriors team has just been in that kind of situation where they're all playing really good basketball. So I like betting on them here in this spot. And I still think they continue to roll. DFS wise, I think if we talk about Draymond and Steph, if you're going to play one, I just think it makes sense to probably play both because they correlate really well with each other, and then run it back with some Mavericks. Obviously, you're going to want to play some Mavericks if Luke is out. That's going to be really, really big news. Jalen Brunson would be the guy that you go to. Tim Hardaway Jr., those would be two really strong plays. Likely throwing Jalen Brunson in your shooting guard spot because shooting guard can be a bit of a tougher spot to roster at times. You could put Jaylen Brown there. You could put Jalen Brunson there. Or you can put Brunson at shooting guard, put Jaylen Brown at your small forward, put Tim Hardaway Jr. at your forward, and then you've already taken care of some positions that can be frustrating to roster sometimes. Instead of having to roster the Cam Johnsons of the world, you don't have to do that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at DFS-wise. And overall, this is definitely going to be a game that we need to get this news on. Hopefully we get it by 5:30. That way we can kind of build out our lineups properly.
Mangone, what do you think of this? So yesterday, Jalen Brunson, he wasn't in foul trouble. He only played 18 minutes. Trey Burke, who's the backup to Jalen Brunson, came in, played 28 minutes out of nowhere in this game, right? Do you think that's any indicator that maybe Brunson plays monster minutes tonight and they kind of might have planned this going in, that there's a possibility Luka might have to sit tonight?
Yes.
Play him less?
Yeah, so I want to look at something right now because there's another thing I saw yesterday. So Goran Dragic played 35 minutes on Monday, right? And one thing I think I made a mistake on is Dragic was on the injury report the other day and did not play, right? Like he just didn't play out of nowhere. And I think it was a planned rest day because they knew that they were going to have these opportunities where they sat none, they sat hero. They didn't tell us right away, right? But I think they knew that was going to happen. And then Dragic played 35 minutes. Like, why did he play 35 minutes? Well, they needed him to. But why did he sit the other day randomly, right? And I think some of these coaches are not going to tell you what they're doing. Rick Carlisle yesterday, he was actually really frustrated with the media. He's like, stop asking me what I'm doing, all this stuff. He was just very furious at the media. Like, don't ask me who's playing tomorrow. Like, I'm not answering those questions. And on top of that, Rick Carlisle talked about maybe like a month or two ago, he mentioned that he has planned rest days for these guys coming up throughout the rest of the year, up until the All-Star break. But he said, I'm not telling you what's going to happen, all this stuff. And that Trey Burke thing, I think, was a huge tell that, hey, Luka might be resting in this spot, right? And again, maybe it's adjusted because of the injury, but when you have a guy like Trey Burke who gets DNP'd for as long as he did, and then he randomly comes in to play in those spots, it makes sense. So, and that makes me want to kick myself even more for not jumping on the Warriors earlier. So I think
not just that though. He randomly came in and played more than the backup who's been outplaying him this entire time and been getting more minutes than him this entire time. So that tells me that there's a really good shot. Not only that Luka sits, but that Brunson plays monster minutes tonight with them keeping his minutes down. So that's something to think about.
Agree.
I don't. This line is telling me he's not playing.
No way.
Yeah. And even then, I mean, I think it's Golden State or pass here. With how
I agree. I think it's Golden State or pass too at this number because
the supporting cast has just been exposed this year. They're just not that good. Jalen Brunson's been the lone bright spot for this team. I think everybody else, in my mind, has maybe met expectations or has been below it. Definitely been disappointed in Richardson this year, although I think he's not. He's doubtful. Porzingis is doubtful. Dorian Finney-Smith has been Dorian Finney-Smith, but whatever. J.J. Redick it's an okay addition, but I mean we already know his issues with defense in the playoffs and getting targeted. So really, this Dallas team's. I think they've been one of the bigger disappointments this NBA season.
They may need Boban's offense for this game.
That's terrible.
They may need Boban to come in there and put up 20. Mangone.
As funny and as cool as he is,
3K Boban.
If your plan is to just really sit your guys, I mean, why wouldn't you put Boban out there? It's national TV too. I mean, people love to watch Boban. So hey,
and not just that, we randomly saw the third guy on the point guard rotation randomly come in and play 28 minutes. I wouldn't be shocked if Kleber and Porzingis both sat. If the third center randomly saw 20 minutes here. Like it honestly, it's a great matchup for a center against Golden State. Like Golden State is soft down low.
You can match so for instance, Boban won't be on the court when they're playing like Draymond and JTA, right? Like those lineups, but Boban to start against Looney, that's gonna happen, right? Like, I mean, that match the minutes, right? So Looney, what does he typically play? Looney plays, I mean, he's not out there playing 30
That's why Boban's only in play if he starts. Because I think the only way he gets run is if he starts, because you're not going to play him with those smaller Warrior lineups. You're going to match him up against Looney, right? You're not going to match him up against anyone else. So I think he would need to be in the starting lineup.
I think Boban's going to match Looney. I really think you're going to see Boban matching Looney's minutes. You'll probably see in between 15 to 25 minutes for Boban tonight. We're going to get ahead of the curve and say that, JSU. I'm in on this. I like the Boban call. Maybe I'll even plan for it with my lineups. We'll have to see.
I might have to backload my lineups here real quick just in case we get a Boban starting at 3K.
At least one.
Oh God, I might have to play Giannis and then backload the rest of my lineup or something like that.
Well, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. We could be seeing a screenshot of that in the Discord later this evening. Mangone, I think you made a great point about Rick Carlisle, though. I think some of these older coaches, they know this schedule is BS, right? They know that they're just running these players into the ground, but they also know why. If they ran less games, right, they would get less money, the salary cap implosion. Like, I mean, you can't just drop the salary cap $20 million, then what? Everyone has to stretch somebody. So they understand why, but they know it's BS. Especially a guy like Carlisle. He's going to be a good soldier, though, and he's not going to say it out loud. But you can, and our guy West Coast talks about you still watching press conferences. This is the stuff you glean from the press conference. I said the same thing, right?
I didn't watch it.
I'm not going to say against it.
I watched Twitter.com and saw the quote. Like, you know, I like to look at the tweet deck, right? So I always have tweet deck up, and you catch things randomly throughout the day and in the night. And it was definitely a good little quote that I saw on Carlisle. And you're right. He is one of those good soldiers, right? Like he is. What is he? He's like one of those, like, is he head of the player or coaches association or something? He's got some title. He is such one of those soldiers that, like, is doing everything he can to protect the league and protect everyone. So that is,
and he protects other coaches too. When he feels that coaches are fired unfairly, he's one of the few that will jump in, like, "Hey, don't bag on Lloyd Pierce. Like, everybody was injured, you know, things like that." So, boy, we've had a wide-ranging basketball discussion. I look forward to this show all week, guys. So thanks for jumping on. But we are not done yet. Greg Russo. Fast forward to this point of the show because here you go. It's just for you. Best bets. Let's start with you, Travis. Who is your best bet of the day? Side, total, or prop?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with, man, there's a lot of good bets here. We definitely talked about a ton. I'm going to give you two. I'm going to give you the prop, right? I'll give you both I have on the sheet. I got the Draymond Green assists over at 8.5. I got it at minus 130. You might find minus 140 in some spots, but I like that bet. You can still hit the minus 140. It's obviously not as sexy, but hey, that's what we're dealt with. And then Nets and Raptors is I put on the sheet. I got the Nets minus 6.5, minus 110. Those will be my two best bets of the day.
All right. And actually, I meant to bring that up with you. You just reminded me. Why did this line move to 5? I didn't see any news. Did you get anything on the Nets? It's down to 5.
No, I didn't know. Did it move to 5? If so, can I get 5 for this? I guess I have. I'll just keep the 6.5. I have had it all day. So
okay.
Why did it move to 5 though? That's
my guess is without seeing anything, is that they just have news that all those guys are going to play.
It did. It did just move to 5. Oh, you know what? I bet you the 130 report came out and nothing. There was no. They're probably like not on the report, right? So they're assuming that most of those guys are in, so they're hedging it back the other way a little bit.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same. I'm using Basketball Monster, or is that it? Yeah, Basketball Monster. I'm seeing the same exact report as when we started the show, but that leads me to believe that all those starters will be playing.
Well, if you haven't bet it yet, you can get minus 5. So there you go.
That's even better. And I think that 5 to 6.5 is a nice little move, especially in a game that I do think that the Raptors could keep fairly close with all those guys playing. JSU, what's your best bet?
Yeah, it's gonna be the easy bet. I'm going with it. The Minnesota Timberwolves,
all right,
taking them minus 1.5. I just think they're the better team. I couldn't imagine taking Houston. I'm just fading Houston. I've been fading Houston for a while now. I'm sticking with it.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'll pull a Randy Marsh, throw those guys in the wheelbarrow, head to the window, and take the Charlotte Hornets plus 9 going against the Milwaukee Bucks. Arguably, one of the best teams in the East here. I think I'm just getting too many points at home. I think Charlotte's going to give us a great effort. You made a great point about those guys shooting the open threes, and that just nailed it for me, right? Because we know what does Milwaukee like to do? They like to pack the middle, give up the open threes. We think Charlotte can take advantage of it. And, even if they are not able to get the straight-up victory, they keep it close. I mean, 9 points is a lot for an NBA game, So I like the Charlotte Hornets here. A little bonus pick here. I also like the under in the Celtics game. I'm putting a little money on that right now as well. But I wanted to thank you guys for joining us. JSU, what do we got going on over at Run Period for the rest of the week?
Yeah, today we got multiple live shows on YouTube here on our Run Pure Sports channel. We got a live show for MLB at 3:45 Eastern time, and then it follows up with an live NBA show at, I think, 5 Eastern time, so pretty much right after.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Mangone's on one of those shows, and might want to tune in. We might have a little giveaway going on from your old pal JSU, so might want to tune in for that. That
we
show.
I have a giveaway from a member who won $20K last night and I want to give away.
Well, I was just about to say, yeah, I know we got some gift. That's going to be on the NBA show. I'm pretty sure Holden will be doing that on the NBA show today.
Okay.
So make sure you check those shows out. They're going to be good shows. And if you're a member or if you're looking to be a member, get over to Run Pure Sports. I do a Up to Lock show every day, Monday through Friday, going from pretty much 45 minutes up to lock of the NBA slate, and we'll talk a little MLB too, but break down all the news, and I kind of give you, my favorite plays, and I talk about the news and talk about how it affects, the games and the guys in the games and what I like and what I don't. So make sure you check that out. You got me, you got Holden. Sometimes, Big T drops in, K Falick, all that stuff. So check it out.
And that's such a fun show to watch. It's a quick hour. It goes by so fast. And the best parts is when you guys invite the chat to make fun of Holden, because my girlfriend,
my favorite,
laughing at back there. What's so funny? You watch these guys all day. Why do you think it's so funny? But yeah, it's just fantastic. King of the Cash Chart, what do you got going on at Run Pure this week? And is there anything that JSU left out that everyone needs to know about?
Yeah, I'll be on the MLB show. I think it's just me and Draft Cheat, so it'll be a little intimate booth, I think. I don't know if title's there or not, but that's okay. DC will be giving those winners all those core plays, so it'll be fun. Excited to talk some baseball with him. I'll be doing the MLB Cash Chart today, so I'll be on that. I believe Hoop and Title are on the DK and FanDuel. At least that's what I've been told so far. And, it should be a good time. I'll be in the NBA chat as well. I'm sure we'll be talking about all the news, having a good time, and, be sure to tune in for that free sub, right? That's going to be awesome, that free subscription. If you're not a member at Run Pure Sports, Jace will be giving away that, so that'll be awesome.
Yeah, and all I would ask is that you check the cash chart before you ask your questions, and check the core, because it's pretty funny when, hey, should I play this guy that's in your core or this random guy that I just pulled out for the same amount of money? It's like, we already know what the answer is going to be. JSU, you're muted.
Big T just called me.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm literally on the bet show right now. We're just finishing up, Tony.
Okay. Hey, what's up, Big T? Keep running pure. All right, guys, we'll finish up right now. I think that's a good way to end. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm not sure who I'll have. I'll have one of you guys tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, you'll have one of us.
We'll figure that out after the show, but we'll see you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Hey, Big T said spread. He wants to get on one of these shows. He says, when is he going to get on?
We'll figure it. I'll get off the show right now, and we will figure it out. Guys, thanks for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back.